Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle for AfroExpats. Please continue watching the rest of the interview that I had with Roxana and Rakia. Enjoy. When the
Lori lets you know that Lori doesn't sound very Mexican.
Yeah. Funny because this lady's name is Lori too. That was just
really?
Yeah, her name is Lori also. And so anyway, she, all the children are constant with the English, but they all can just switch to Spanish in a heartbeat. So I was kind of pushing for that. And I'm like, please speak, Then I realized, what? I need to put him in environments where it's that he only hears Spanish, making friends with, some children that don't speak. Right. And it works. It actually works.
That's great. That's immersion, full immersion. That's exactly. What he's going to get. Otherwise, he's not going to
yeah.
Or it'll be hard to do.
Yeah. So it's gotten better. I mean, I say great. He's fluent now, but that first year, I just assumed, he'll just jump in and, he'll figure it out. I brought him to parks all the time and everyone was speaking Spanish. And I was like, this is great, but then he would play outside here. And then all the kids are like, English. And I would just say, hey, can you guys please speak to him in Spanish? But they're more accustomed to that. So I started bringing him to places and spaces where, he had to play, but the play was in Spanish and he had to communicate. And, I remember the first kind of communication I heard him kind of have was at one of the playground places. And, I was just sitting, chilling, letting him play, run around. This was our first summer here. And next thing I hear is he's just like, amigo to one of the kids. And I was so excited, I was just like, okay, he knows what that means. Great. I mean, we all know this, but he wasn't taught that. And the other kid kept calling him amigo and he kept calling him amigo. So there was that learning already that this means friend, right? This is my way of getting your attention and your way of getting my attention. And he became more comfortable and they figure it out, right? It's just the same for us. The children will figure it out and so will you. So you have to kind of have that open mind to want to do that, right? You want to communicate.
Open mind.
Yes, exactly. So I think all of the things and lessons that we've kind of put in this very long conversation is that people have to come with that open mind. And if you choose to live outside of a metropolitan city, outside of a high expat concentrated area, keep your mind open because there's so much goodness and so much culture and so much for you to learn in that new place. And that's the reason why you made that journey in the first place. I mean, for me, I would love to just move around Mexico to places that are off, the beaten trail and just seriously learn. Like when you started telling me about the Mayan cultures and the indigenous languages and stuff, I absolutely love that. I love those things. I spent years ago, I spent 3 months in South America, and I spent a lot of time in, the places that did not speak Spanish. They spoke their indigenous languages. And it was just so interesting to me because I feel like I don't have this knowledge base. We don't have this knowledge base in the US. And I think that there's so many traditions, even just knowing about nature and how they respect nature and how they interpret things. And I feel like at some point, that will be lost and we'll read about it maybe in a history book. But for me, it's interesting because I think that we aren't taught these things in our upbringing. We just learn about American history and whatever. And so I think that it's nice that we actually have access to that here and we can learn about it here,
It's why we have to, I say en español, necesitamos aprovechar
que hay miles de oportunidades de educar a nuestros hijos en otra forma. No necesitamos depender de un libro que alguien le di o a un libro que alguien escribí. Sí. Ahorita mismo podemos escribir un libro que queremos nuestros hijos realmente leer. Y más importante, si podemos dejar a nuestros hijos escribir páginas en este libro. And for me, that is my idea with my son. I believe in vacation, but not vacation where we're sitting on the beach all day. Vacation where you are learning about this country, not just because it's your country also, but the real deal. My father-in-law is 80 and he's like a walking museum. And I always talk to him about what happened in his time frame here, and I compare it to what the book said. And then I make my son at 6 interpret it in his mind and tell me what he gets out of it. Because like you said, the history is definitely, welcome to Mexico, not my neighbor cutting their grass. So what is going to happen if we don't teach our children to appreciate this rich culture, it will definitely disappear.
Exactly.
And who is going to tell the story correctly? We've watched it in our own communities back home, right? My grandmother back home is 90s, and she's another one. And I'm like, Grandma, and my grandma's like, coronavirus. This has already been here. This pandemic thing was here before, you know. And she's like, this ain't gonna kill me. It shouldn't kill you either. And so, you know, it's important that we learn in our communities. We learn what's going on, so that we can reiterate. And I think I told you this before. Another thing we do is tours. So whenever you're ready, we do Pueblo hopping. Remember I sent you the pictures from the pictures. I love little pueblos. I love sitting and talking to the abuelos, abuelitas in los pueblos, because they let you know what's good, what is not good. Orizaba has funky weather. When I say funky weather, it's the city of Agua Alegre. It means it rains a lot here. And I remember that the Pope came to Orizaba and he said, only in Orizaba the water doesn't wet you. And meaning we're always outside in Orizaba. It could be a thunderstorm and people outside because it's like el agua aquí no se moja. So these things you must know, so that you understand why the people are the way they are. You know, the indigenous here don't wear shoes. And for some of them don't wear shoes, or they wear plastic shoes that's hule. And I remember I was like, this is not hygienic at all. Why are you walking downtown with your shoes on, no? And my husband took me to their downtown, and I was able to ask, and just to be able to understand that they use grounding and earthing like we do in our spiritual world. I was like, look at us being the same. Look, just, you know, me making faces at what is different, because for me, I need shoes on to go downtown. But you are grounding yourself because you're going downtown to work. So you're making sure that your feet are in the ground and your gods are on your side while you work. And it just made me, it helps me to relate a lot more, you know, because you guys are getting there.
And I want to share a Pueblo experience that we had here. It's called Naulinco, and it's known for leather goods. Yeah. And they make shoes, bags, and I said to myself, because we're so spoiled, I said to myself, and I said to my daughter, I was like, I bet you will get some free stuff today. And lo and behold, we got off the bus. Okay, it was a tour bus. We got off the bus, and a man walked up to us with my favorite thing in the world, coconut ice cream. And he just walked up to us and was like, hey, where are you from? Nice to meet you. Here's ice cream. And I'm greedy, so I ate it. Me and my daughter ate it. But I say that to say, that's the type of love that we receive. I'm almost expecting to get free stuff when we go on these tours, because people are they're so happy to see us.
Right.
Big smiles, welcoming. Just, you feel the love emanating from them.
Yeah.
We'd be in a store, people would stop what they're doing just to come and greet us. And it's almost like expected. Like, I bet you can go get something free today. And we did, because it happens so often.
Right.
It's No, I haven't gotten treated like that in the US where I was born.
No,
So,
not at all. I mean, we get treated like, second class citizen, unless you have a lot of money. And even then, it doesn't really matter. So, no, I hear you. I think here I've had so many positive experiences. I really, I feel blessed. I mean, honestly, I didn't come with that expectation. I came with my own little list of things. And, it's just been such an abundance. And I want to be, along with you ladies and others, just that voice that kind of shows a whole unknown Mexico in regard to what we've been trained to think, and that's why I want people to know, like, okay, you know what, don't complain about how hot it is somewhere else, because there are other choices and there are other areas that are beautiful. And when you get there, if that's your choice, be kind, be understanding, be open-minded, and try your best to really learn the language so you can communicate. And the history, I feel like it's such a rich country. There's just so much. Yeah, there's so much.
I want to point this out too. In Mexico, there's so many things that you can use as learning materials, right down to those monedas, the money. Mm-hmm. Because, people come here, oh, I'm saving money. Just read the money and start there.
Right.
Look at the coin. We have coins that express who was important in the independence, who was important in the revolution, and when the street names are named after people who have done major things in this country. And if you just take the time to, while you're reading your map, you're learning northwest, north, east, south, west, if to take the time to just kind of collect everything. You don't have to sit down and open a big book or, necessarily talk to somebody. Excuse me. Open the wallet. Who's on the wallet? I'm sorry. Who's on the bill here? We changed 1,000 peso bill. The 500 bill was changed this year.
100 is changed.
100. I mean, this year we changed money, and one of my things was, who is Montezuma?
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that the beer plant here, Orizaba, is named after Montezuma. Mm-hmm. And then I found out, who he was. I mean, there's so many ways to educate yourself. So this way, when you do have this raw experience to speak to natives, they know that you care because you're bringing something to the table when you come to conversate. You're not just talking about, because one thing Roxana has taught me to do is to not let people milk me for free English classes, right? I know that I'm talking to me in their broken English, unless we have this, relationship. Because a lot of people will try to yell at you in their broken English, and you find yourself correcting their English in your mind, not being rude to correct them verbally.
Right.
But if you start to speak to them about things that, I guess, their culture, their community, and they're no longer interested about why you're here.
Right.
Because I keep that question, why are you here? Or what brought you to Mexico? And so if you start to express to them that you know something about their culture, those crazy little nagging questions no longer are on the table. Now they start to talk to you academically, or I don't know if the word is academically, but they start to talk to you as not a tourist.
Right.
And they start to talk to you as a human being who has the right to travel. And not just the right to travel, but a human being who is interested in where you are.
Oh, I'm depending on how you catch me, when people ask, ¿De dónde son? ¿De dónde eres? Aquí Orizaba. And they usually, most of them get the hint. Okay, let me do this. Where are you from? I'm from here.
Yeah.
I'm here. That's
right.
Mind your business. Yeah. Depending on how you catch me. And then I'm like, I've been here 4 years. I know you've seen me around town. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Let me just exist, please.
So, but I think that helps with existing. Now you know. Like Roxana, she walks places I don't walk. I'm fat and happy. I'm behind the car all day. So Roxana told me, did you see this was downtown? Like, I ain't been downtown in months. Almost since the pandemic started, I ain't been downtown. But people here, they treat you. I think in general in life, people treat you how you present yourself to be treated. So if you know, once you break out of these high tourist areas, even I go to Cancun, Tulum, Playa del Carmen every December. For those who are down there, if you want to meet, I'm there the month of December. But I'm not on Fish Street. I'm never on Quinto Avenue because I don't like. I don't like. I want to sit and look at Americans and Europeans and Canadians all day. Yeah. I'm out in the Norte, I'm in the Hongle. I'm out living my best Mayan life. Right. I'm literally.
Well, I want to come and live your best Mayan life too, because I've been to Cancun, I've been to Tulum, you know, I've done it only maybe 2 or 3 times that I can remember. And although I had a great time and it was short, you know, I was doing this from Florida. And then once we did it from here, I'm kind of like, I know there's more going on over here. It's just when I go to those places, you know, they set you up, you know, it's like you stay in a hotel and it's like, do this tour and do that and go here. And then it's like, once I do it, I'm kind of like, okay, what else is there? And I really do like to see things that are not on, you know, a list or on a pamphlet, because it does become kind of the same experience after a while. Right. So you have to like, let me know when you're there so you can kind of show me the other things that.
I sure will. I'm telling you, we go for December break. My son loves Shell Hound. It's the only thing that we do every year faithfully is we take him to Shell Hound. But outside of that, I mean, really, you know, Cancun in Mayan is the city of snakes. Oh. Basket of snakes. So literally, I'm in the jungle. I'm on the spirituality thing. So I'm in there in the jungle. I'm in the jungle. I want to see.
I can do jungle. I can do jungle. I've been in the Amazon. So
there you go. I'm out there. You know, I'm trying to figure out what the ancestors did. Why were they able to live so long? You know, I'm all about that discovery. And I'm not talking about the discovery. That's how I travel around Mexico. I look for what interests me. Definitely resorts and yachts. I did that the first year I was here. So y'all spoiled it. I was white sand beaches and margaritas. But year 2, when I learned how to turn on the boiler and make sure I had hot water with the boiler, I was like, well, I better change up some things around here. I got to figure out the real deal with Mexico, you know. And that is an experience that I would take with me for the better of my day. Mexico has prepared me. I think living here, I can live anywhere. You can put me to the moon, and I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. I will. I will definitely figure it out. Give me 3 months on the moon, and you'll come back and you'll be a dynasty up here. I will definitely figure it out. So, you know, I think that's a whole other conversation to how to travel, how to move around Mexico in a very local way. Because I don't think the last time I stayed in a 5-star resort in Mexico had to be 10 years ago. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be in here drinking and sleeping all day. I got to get out here in the sunshine. Yeah. And talk to the people. I got to get out here and educate myself.
Right, educate and learn other things. So yeah. Well, I appreciate you ladies so much. And I might end up breaking this into 2 parts. But I just want to say that, you know, today has been really for me, even though I had a conversation with you before, Rakia, that it's been super inspiring. And, you know, that's the goal, is to share with other people the experiences that we have. And, you know, just so they can see other parts and other things and meet, and also to see that, you know, there are some of us spread out in different pockets and different places in Mexico. So if one place is not for you, you know, look at other options, or at least make the journey to those other places and just see, you know, like you said, Roxana, that having that full immersion sometimes that's what people really want. They don't want to be in this mix where they feel like, oh, I got to find just another Black community, right? I mean, it's always nice to see our own and our kind for the most part. But at the same time, it's like, getting a new experience means getting that new experience and
Absolutely.
being open to
and
that.
you learn so many nuances. I 4 years, I'm scratching the surface really quickly, but I'm learning so much about the way people think, the way what's normal and expectations and nuances that I know I wouldn't get if I was in this artificial expat immigrant space.
Right.
With American Canadians, because we have immigrants here from all over the Latin America, the Caribbean, Africa, but I'm talking about particular places that are catering to north of the border.
Right. Right. And I even personally would love more of that. I think as my son gets a little bit older, we'll explore other areas. But I know Mexico is rich in so many ways. And for me, it's important to, at the very least, go to those places, see them and take them on. Like I am not for those extravagant things. I mean, there are things that I really do enjoy doing that are different, but I really do like the idea of going to smaller places and really learning about the local traditions, because every place has a story. And I feel like it's interesting to be able to have access to that is already within itself a blessing. I mean, really and truly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You should come down. There's a huge Cuban diaspora here, this part of in Veracruz. Most people assume that Cuban. A brother was in the market, good looking brother. So I walked up to him, oh, you speak English? He was like, no, I'm from Cuba. I was like, oh, cool. So, just assuming somebody is Black, I thought he was, he was from Cuba. And I know Jamaicans here. I know some Haitians, Hondurans. So we have immigrants and Colombians, my gym buddy. But, I like the diversity. I like the multiculturalism.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's good to know. I mean, I think people need to understand that just because you say I'm looking for a Black community, it doesn't mean it is someone from the US, right? It's people from all over the world. It's spread out. And
I always say what I always say, skin folk ain't always kin folk.
I'm going to put that on your name on my thing. Rakia said.
Kin folk always look alike, but do you know what I know, or do I need to learn what you know? So
exactly. Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, because this is a Saturday afternoon, and I know we're usually busy with personal things. And I really appreciate you both jumping in on this Zoom call. Again, I will post all your information about your, different schools and what you're offering, where you're located. And more than likely, I'm probably going to do a part 1 and part 2 of this, because I think it's really important that people kind of get a good feel for your experience, and see other things. And that's the intention here, is to just kind of open the mind, here's where, these folks are. It's not to say that we want to, inundate and flood. And I don't see that happening at a snap of a finger either. But, I just want people to get away from, the cruise ships that drop you off in Cancun for the day and pick you back up at 5 o'clock.
That's so not the life that we're living.
Yeah, exactly. And I want them to understand.
I've only flown through Cancun. I've never been, because I've never been to Mexico before moving here. So Cancun might as well be Moscow. So I just only flew through Cancun, and that was it. Not that I'm opposed to going there, but if you told me that there's a place to go to in another offbeat state, you would catch me there before you would catch me in the usual spots.
Right.
The Cancun upon me. I'm not opposed to it, but I would rather you, like my girlfriend, she's Mexican and American. She lives in Lake Chapala, and I went to visit her, and she was like, okay, we're going to go to the natural volcanic steam baths, Texmal.
Texmal.
So we went there. She was like, Santa, this is like locals. Like Americans are not here. I'm like, wait, come on, let's go.
Exactly.
Exactly. So we were able to bring our food food and make our own ceviche. You know, American spots and Appalachian do that. You got a lot of food that's there. So we were able to bring our own food, and it was a wonderful experience. And, you know, like one of my students says, you know, you should, when you do your website and everything, say that you have experiences in the intimate parts of Mexico.
Exactly.
So that's a really good word, intimate.
Yes.
And that's the life that we live in here. These little hidden things that people don't know about.
Right.
That's why I'm sorry.
Right.
I learned it from my students.
Exactly. Oh, okay, well, go back to where you come from.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's great. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to speak to Rakia, because we spoke, and I contacted her initially because I was just thinking about, offering, or at least putting together really small, tours about things in places that people aren't used to going to, especially in your area. And it's not about, having some great luxury vacation. It was more for me about learning about the traditions in another place. I mean, we talked so long, and she has just such a wealth of information. I was like, I want to get her back on the phone. And so I'm really happy that you were able to join her as well, because like I said, I just want people to see that Mexico is huge. There's 32 states.
30-some states.
Yeah, and that people need to understand, that there's so much culture and it's rich, and there's a lot of history here. My little old dog. And there's a lot of history, and that don't just think about this. Okay. There's nothing wrong with, if that's your thing, that's your thing, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But I also feel like, there's a lot to learn here, and we're received. And it's not what you think. It's not crazy unsafe. Of course, there are places that are not safe, but for the most part, if you are immersed in the community and you're reaching out and you are able to speak the language, mostly the culture is receiving you in a positive way. And this is what we're doing. We're just creating that sense of undoing all these crazy stereotypes that we have and replacing.
We're not myopic. I think it's important to know that, we as Black people, we're not myopic. There's a diversity of opinions. But I think it's also important to understand that my experience as a Black woman, I needed to talk to other Black women, and that's how I connected with Rakia. And I needed to have her perspective, because what I saw in the other non-Black expat groups was very discouraging about this area. And Rakia was like, hey, that is not my experience. Their dynamic and our dynamic is different. So, and it's important that we tell our own stories. We define our own and shape our own narratives as expats or immigrants living in this country. And the experiences are vastly different from those that are not Black living here.
That's true.
And I think it's important to amplify our voices.
I want to say that never let anybody as a Black woman call you a gringa. Because then they put you in this box that you have fought long and hard to get out of when you leave the United States. So don't allow them to put you back in this box, because the word is rude, it's not nice, and they are telling you that they have stereotyped you from the door. And it's very important. Listen, everybody in my circle knows not to call me green. Because I'm like, listen, if you want me to go, I will go. But you better not be sending me away because you think I'm coming over here to abuse you, to steal from you, or to take something from you, because that's not my motive. Right. So, but once again, it's very important that we understand how they feel about us stereotypically. And not that we work to change their minds, because, we don't change people, but that you don't fall into that stereotypic box.
Right.
Don't fall in. Show them, or show people, that you are more than what they have calculated you to be.
Right.
And the word gringa it sets my soul on fire. So when I tell everybody, I would like that to be known with women of color. When you travel abroad here, don't let people call you gringa. Don't let them do that to you. Tell them what your name is. Señora, señorita, doña, lo que quiera, pero no gringa. It just brings so much bad baggage with it. And I don't want that baggage. I'm not here on vacation. I'm not here touring your city. I live here.
Right.
So get to know me. I need to get to know you.
Right, exactly. So on those notes, I thank you again so much for being here all the way from Veracruz. I'm going to get down there soon. And
you're welcome. You already have a place to crash. Crash. Everybody goes to
Estoy aquí.
Estamos aquí para apoyarte, ayudarte a conocer el área, darte guidance, lo que sea, aunque no estoy en Allende, tengo conocidos ahí igual, so si necesitas algo, estoy. You made a comment saying that you don't have some connections. Call me.
Yes,
Call me. What do you need? What are you looking for? Because I've been here a long time, and I'm telling you, I have rolled from the top to the bottom of this great country. So,
yes,
I know. You know, I'm a fan of the movement that you started.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of your movement, of your initiative. So I'm all about Black immigrants, wherever they're from, having a support, having even if it's virtual, but just, hey, you know, I need this. Let me see if I can find out. Let me go to Michelle's, you know, Black-owned Mexico. Let me see what I can find out there. It's very important for us to have those spaces because other immigrant communities do the same thing.
Right. And exactly. I mean, I had a couple people that seemingly were poo-pooing on things. And I'm like, look, this is
adios.
I'm like, it's not a competition. Like it came to me because it was already with me, you know, and, you know, just as a brief kind of talk about that, it was just one of those moments. And I think I said this to you, Rakia, when we had our last conversation, where I would look at one page and someone's looking for something. And then the other page, someone's excited because they just got that. And that's sort of what happened. And I remember when I first moved here, because we have a lot of different first impressions when we get to our new host country or space, right? And when I came here, I remember thinking like, it's so complicated to find this, you know, or find that, or locate a product and figure it all out. There's so much to know in a new place, a new country. So my thought was,
I have that same problem. That was a real constant complaint of mine. It's so hard to get stuff. It was so hard for me because you don't know where to go.
You don't even know to ask, you know, you go in the grocery store and you're thinking like, there's got to be at least one thing that looks familiar, and there's not. And it's not necessarily that, you know, I'm viewing that as, oh my God, this is so bad. It's just kind of like, okay, how do I get it? Or is there another resource? And because our, you know, demographic is smaller, there's no reason for that store to carry some of the products that we are used to, or offer people to offer those services. So my thing is if there's someone out there, let me know about it, because I do think in Mexico, it's pretty easy to get things, you know, even if someone is 1,000 miles away, if that's even possible in Mexico. But you know what I'm saying? Like if they're 500 miles away or 200 miles away, I know that it's pretty easy to get it to me if they are selling it. I'm more than happy to support a local person, anyone local, or you know what I'm trying to say. So as Rakia and I, we were talking on our last conversation, and you were telling me about some of the things they offer locally that are like maybe similar to a shea butter and some other things we were discussing. And I was just like, I would gladly support whoever's making these products and get them to me. Tell me how and where I can, you know, put that money in the OXXO account and send it, you know? So for my thing is if we don't talk about it and we don't share, we're never going to know, right? We're just going to keep going back to our normal places. And for me at the time, my normal place was when I go to the US, I'm going to load up my suitcase and bring back what I need. But if there are things and people here that can provide those things for me, I am more than willing to support either a local person or people that are making that effort to provide a service or whatever it is. I'm happy to do that, you know.
This is why you have to get out and support your local, what's the word I want to use? What's the market that we go to?
Artisans?
The artists, artists, those markets, because mango butter is popular right now because it's mango season. So you just got to get out there and you got to shop with the ones, this is what you're not going to get in the big tourist areas because you don't have the artisanal markets.
Right.
But in the pueblos, we have a very large artisanal market. So we have, last time I spoke to you, I told you about the epazote, and then I remember I told you the probiotics, so you were telling me how expensive it is. Bolgares is the animal, because it's what it is, an animal that makes probiotics that we make yogurt from. And literally, 25 pesos. 25 pesos, a little bottle, you put it in water and it just grows and grows, you pinch it, it makes milk, makes yogurt, and you know, and you're not spending this heap of money.
And it's organic.
And it's organic.
Exactly.
But I don't have a connection in, let me make this clear. I'm learning with you ladies the connection of the Black expat, who knows what. I'm very in tune with my Mexican community of who makes what and what. Because, like I said, when I left the border, I decided I no longer wanted to look for commonalities of the states to make me comfortable. So I had to switch over into how to make sure my natural hair is pretty,
right,
not dry. So I had to figure out, you know, what are we using here? What can you use? What, you know? Excuse me. And I do when my mother comes or when Roxana comes, because, you know, I don't travel to the States often anymore. But when people do visit, I do put on and bring me this, that, and the third. But I have really learned to substitute a lot. Right. A lot. I mean,
and we are in the seat of, you know, natural remedies, indigenous magic.
Exactly.
I had the opportunity to go to a ceremony to honor ancestors. It was one of their local goddesses or saints. And it was a ceremony honoring ancestors, which is something I'm familiar with being West African. So, you know, you talk to your ancestors, you give them water, you give them pulque. Okay, pulque is a traditional indigenous drink, but it looks like West African palm wine. And I believe it's the same thing from the palm tree. Right. Anyway, I love the commonalities because it's very reminiscent of West African culture. And I say that to say, I felt like it was I felt very connected. And I met a shaman, a traditional healer, and he did some body work on me. And I want to go to his sweat lodge, for the lack of a better word. So I say that to say, it's a lot of learning, spiritual growth that we have the opportunity to partake in. That otherwise, I don't have to go pay a shaman down in Peru. I got it right here where I live.
Exactly. And getting back to the product thing that she was talking about, you know, I am also, when I came here, you know, I came with my, you know, I say my Americanness in some ways, or my United Statesness, and, you know, with the hair and the this and that. But I remember thinking, I said, in 6 months after I do whatever I had on my agenda, a wedding and blah, blah, blah in the US, I'm going to be this and I'm going to do that. And I'm making these changes so I don't have that dependency on things that were so like, you know, thinking, okay, this is how this defines me in some ways, right? And initially I was just like, I don't really know how to do this natural hair thing great and whatever, but you learn, like you said, you learn to adapt to what's available to you, and you learn to adapt, and, you know, you make provisions for times when you just feel like, you know what, I want to be blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Right. So in saying all of that, one of the things I learned, and I know it's already out there for my natural hair, is, you know, aloe vera. And there's so much aloe vera hair. I can give you this joke. And I told one of the ladies a couple of days ago that was here, and she laughed, and I said, it's truth. I see them all the time, but I remember in that moment, I needed an aloe vera plant and a leaf. And I had a knife in the car, and I just went out. I parked the car and I chopped a piece, a big juicy piece.
I got aloe vera in my backyard.
Yeah, I have it outside on my patio, but I'm like, my plant was little and I saw these ginormous, and they're everywhere. And I was just like, oh, I need a little bit I come home, you know, I cut it. I'm like, you know, I come home and I scoop out the meat and I do all my stuff and put it in a bottle and I do whatever. And it's amazing. And had I not had that kind of option, meaning, let's say not have the option, have kind of myself being pushed to learn about something new, I would just keep doing what I've been doing because it's so convenient to just go in the store in the US and buy something, right? But here I feel like this is better for me. This is even working better. It feels better. And, you know, we start learning. And this is part of the reason, like I said, why I created the platform is like, you know, let's information share, whatever it is, you know, I mean, it's not overly defined, but it was just something that was important. I thought that it was important to have.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you know, and so like I said, if there's something you can share from your region, or if we can support someone locally that's selling something that is appealing to us.
I even told her about the girl who braided my hair.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Mexican girl.
That's a whole other conversation.
She said part two. You gotta say part two.
My hair.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. I mean, I had the other lady reach out to me, and you know, there are other people, and I'm willing to give people a try. You know, I'm not just just this one thing. I'm kind of like open to other things, especially if it's supporting a local person. You know, born and raised Mexican. I'm down with that 100%.
Or Honduran, because the Afro Honduran here do hair.
The Garifuna.
Okay.
The Black woman, you know, the ethnic group is called Garifuna, and she lives here with her family, and she's one of the more popular braiders in our area.
Oh, okay. That's another thing to know. You know, I just feel like we need to understand that it exists. For example, my friend Stephanie, she has lived in Mexico for a really long time, and she was flying to Houston to do her hair, to get her hair done. And I'd be like, you know, isn't there someone here that can do it? And she's kind of like, you know, never thought about seeking it out, right? And she just kind of was like, well, I don't know, da, da, da. And so when it kind of happened where we were able to get this person, which, you know, I was very happy to support that, but I also started realizing, like, the more we start looking, we realize there's definitely people out there. We just got to find them. We got to connect each other together. And so my thing is, what this huh?
Yeah, Cruz has an African Black community too. There are sisters out there that, you know, braid. It's a larger city, so there's a huge Cuban diaspora. I know there are people there from the States, and I'm sure, you know, Haitian. You know, it's a bigger city. We're not in the big city.
You gotta come to Veracruz. On the beach in Veracruz, they braid hair. Yeah. While you literally eat the seafood, they will braid your hair. So you gotta, you know, just stuff and stuff. You have to come to Veracruz, and you can go live from Veracruz, and you know, you can kind of put that rest about Veracruz not being a hot spot. It is very much a hot spot just for those who are willing to wave the stone.
I immigrants here.
Yeah.
Here, but not necessarily Americans and people from Canada. More Canadians are here. In Veracruz,
there's not a lot of pale people. That's the thing. It's and I think this is what makes Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Yucatan. I think this is what makes these areas popular. And we as African Americans or Black expats, we don't realize that we're actually placating into something that we would never support back in the United States. We are going to these places because the pale person has advised us to. They made it very pretty for us, right? Right. So Veracruz, Oaxaca, Puebla, Tabasco, these places have high immigrant population. They're just not pale people. So we live very differently here. Mm-hmm. We still have a very rich culture experience because we have kept the colonizer out.
Right.
I'm not dealing with American microaggressions, right? Yeah. You know, it cleared up my skin, you know. So.
Well, your skin is beautiful. You too, Rakia. Right.
Even though I'm saying today is hot. Now, I will tell you this about Orizaba, it's hot.
Yeah.
When it's hot, it's hot. Cold.
When it's cold, it's cold.
Yeah.
We had a very cold winter, and now we're having a very hot summer.
Yeah, because we're in the mountains. It does get cold.
Yeah, we're in the mountains too, but it's been we've had two milder winters. The first one I moved here it was colder. We don't get snow though, I have to say that. But it's
how long have you been here? When did you move here?
I moved in June 2018. So I've been here for 3 years.
A long time. Okay, 3 years. Good.
Years.
So just a year after,
yeah.
A year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is my third year, and I really like it. I mean, I do think it's definitely a comfortable place to be here. We have all those like things that you mentioned where, I can go to Walmart. I'm not crazy about Walmart, but it's there. And I'm not crazy about this one in particular, but I love Costco's. So I go there and I get my stuff and whatever. So for me, it's one of those things where I still have my creature comforts, but I'm in a different place. And I also appreciate that they exist, but at the same time, if I didn't have them, I would have the same approach as Rakia. Like I didn't even know about those things. I honestly was like, I'm not renewing my Costco membership. What's the point? I kept thinking along those lines. And then when I got here, someone says, oh, there's a Costco's in Querétaro. And I was like, where's Querétaro? What is that? I had never heard of these places. So in moving, I've learned a lot, but I really feel like I have not done a lot of the things I want to do, which is, like I said, hit the smaller towns, because I'm used to that. I've done it in the past in my travels, and I kind of want to have like that incorporated back into my life, not just stay here and be like, oh, okay, it's so comfortable. I really want to get in the car and do road trips. So I want to be like you, Rakia.
That's my thing.
I need to caravan with you and your husband.
Yeah. That you just let me know where and when. That's my husband is sporadic. I'm telling you, last weekend he was like, "I'm tired. Let's go to Michoacan." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So we went. How far are you from Querétaro?
Only 45 minutes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's a place we could definitely go and do the wine and cheese tour, and then from there, get into the food. we can start. I tell people all the time, we'll start at the highest acidity point, and then we'll work our way down to the nitty gritty. So
let's do it. Let's do it. How far?
Relax, body massages, and walk the mountains of Querétaro.
Yes, I'm always down for hiking and outdoor stuff, and you name it. I'm all about it. I'm really flexible. I can be fancy and I can be dirty. Get my hiking boots out, and I have no issues throwing on a baseball hat and let's go up that mountain and let's get our sweat on. Yeah,
we can truly the true bad and bougies of Mexico.
Yep, exactly.
We can truly put bad and bougie to rest here. We can do it all.
I love that. Yeah. All right, beautiful ladies. I'll let you guys get back now. We have another marathon conversation, Rakia and Roxana.
I'm a top.
I am too. So, all right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you again for being here. And I'll more than likely put it in a couple sections, and I'll make sure all your details are below so that people can connect with you, especially with what you're doing in Veracruz. And, I think that it's a beautiful thing. And I really hope people will find inspiration in all of it, what you're doing, what you're giving back, all of the positive, vibes that you're putting into your community, and that people can see, that there are things they can come and give back to this, beautiful country that accepts us, right, and treats us right. So keeping that in mind, we can end on that sweet note.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.